So hello everyone, I miss you all very much. Welcome to my living room here on Orcas Island. Today I wanted to go over shoulder stand. As we've talked about in class, shoulder stand is considered the mother of all poses, the most nourishing pose, and it benefits all the systems of the body, especially beneficial for sleep as well as the endocrine system. So my intention with this video is first to show a short sequence that will help prepare the body for shoulder stand, for doing full shoulder stand, then show you shoulder stand on a chair, and then show it with the blankets, although you've seen that before, just to get the review on that. So to start, I'm going to do shoulder opener on a block. You can start with the block low, or if you're more flexible, turn it up one level. And you want to have the edge of the block, the leading edge of the block, to be below the bottom points of your shoulder blades. And then blanket for your head. Start off with your knees bent. Again, block is right below bottom tips of the shoulder blades. Catch a hold of your elbows. And lengthen the head back to the blanket. And then extend out through your legs. And hold here for several breaths. And then from here, bend your knees, release your elbows, and press your elbows down, and come up. And come out of the pose. From here, I'd suggest just a couple of breaths in downward dog to lengthen the back of the neck. Turn your toes under and press your hips back. Lengthen out through the crown of your head and take the base of the skull up towards the ceiling. And then lower your knees down, and we'll just come into simple Garudasana arms in Virasana. So sit in Virasana and take your arms into a goalpost position, and then draw the elbows together and cross the right over the left, linking the hands. And then draw your upper arm bones back into the shoulder joint, and draw your shoulder blades down. Lengthen up through the crown of your head and take your throat back. And then release and do the other side. Again, really draw the shoulder blades down, lengthen the crown of the head, and take your throat back. And then come out of that, and we'll come up to standing. And we'll take Gomukhasana arms in standing. So extend your right arm out, palm face up, and turn the pinky finger side of your hand towards the ceiling. Place your right palm on your shoulder and stretch the elbow up. Catch a hold of your right tricep and draw it into the midline so that you externally rotate that right arm. Then reach out through the left arm with an internal rotation, and you can catch a hold of a strap behind your back. Keep turning really strongly, externally rotating the top arm, and stretching the right elbow towards the wall behind you. And lengthen up through the crown of your head and take your throat back. And release and do the other side. And the key in Gomukhasana to find the mobility in your shoulders is to raise your collarbones and draw your shoulder blades down towards your waist. That's the key action. That creates the freedom in your shoulders that is essential for shoulder stand. And then release the arms down, extend up, and come into a simple crescent pose. Catch a hold of your right wrist. Again, externally rotate the right arm. Press your feet into the floor. Internally rotate your thighs, take your ribs back, and come into the side bend. And again, do the second side. Really anchor the left foot into the floor. Again, widen the back waist. External rotation of the top arm. Opening the side body and the underarm area. Exhale, rise and come back up and extend the arms out. Turn the palms up, really strong, again, external rotation to raise your collarbones. Then you can turn the lower arms in, take your hands behind your back, and maybe you press your knuckles together or take your hands into reverse Namaskarasana. And we'll come into full Parshvottanasana. Right foot forward, left one back. Draw the outer right hip back. Anchor down through the left foot. Raise the collarbones. Take your elbows back and fold forward. Rise and come up, and take the second side. Again, really use the back leg as an anchor. Lift the elbows towards the ceiling. Take the fronts of the shoulders away from the floor. Lengthen through the crown of your head and press the base of the skull up towards the ceiling. Inhale and rise and come back up. And exhale, come out and release the arms down. And from here we'll come into standing wide-legged forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana, with the hands interlaced. Really draw up through the inner legs, hugging into the midline. Raise your collarbones, retract your shoulder blades, and exhale to fold forward. And then again, lengthen through the crown of your head. Take your shoulder blades away from the base of your neck. And then squeeze the inner legs to the midline. Keep lifting the inner arches of your feet and rise. Come all the way up. And exhale, release. And heel toe, step your feet together. From here, we'll come into a shoulder stretch on a chair. So you can just kneel in front of the chair. Interlace your hands and rest your hands on the seat of the chair. Then once again, keep the back ribs wide, so the front ribs move to the back ribs. Raise your collarbones, widen the fronts of the shoulders, and draw your shoulder blades down towards your waist. Lengthen up through the crown of your head and take your throat back. And then release your arms. From here, we'll come into Purvottanasana on the chair. So you sit on the edge of the chair, grip the sides of the chair with your knuckles facing outwards. Walk your feet forward. Strong internal rotation of the legs. Root through the balls of your big toes. Raise the hips, raise the chest, and again, retract the shoulder blades. Then take the sides of the chest, right, the whole underarm area up towards the ceiling. Lengthen through the crown of your head and take your throat back. And then from there, release down. Bend your knees, set your feet on the floor, take a breath. And then the final pose before shoulder stand is bridge pose. You want to use a block and bridge pose to get the maximum opening in the belly center and in the fronts of the thighs, and to really allow for the chest to open organically. Root the inner feet, just like you did in Purvottanasana. Set the block underneath your sacrum. Turn the inner arms up towards the ceiling. Again, that strong external rotation. Raise the sides of the chest, so the armpit area lifts towards the ceiling, and the shoulder blades retract. Then raise the chin a little bit, press the back of your skull into the floor, raise your chest, and then take the throat back. Press your feet into the floor. You can raise your heels up to take the block out and lower down. So from here, I'm going to show shoulder stand with a chair and a bolster. And a blanket. So for this particular chair, the bolster needs to be about 1.5 inches away from the base of the chair. For most folding chairs, you can take the bolster right up to the chair legs. This chair happens to be a little bit small. And then take a blanket to cushion the seat of the chair. You can also use a sticky mat. Now when I'm teaching this with a private client, this is an excellent way to work with students so they don't have to have any weight on the neck and they can stay in shoulder stand for a long period of time. If you're working with a private student and this is their first time coming into it, hold the chair for them. So to come in, you sit on the chair and you sling your legs over the chair back. You hook your calves over the back of the chair. So I'm holding myself here so I won't slide off this way. Then I'm going to lower myself down. My sacrum is on the edge of the chair. And I thread my arms through this inside of the chair legs. My shoulders, as you can see, are resting on the bolster. There's no weight whatsoever on my neck. And I can straighten my legs here and I'm fully supported. I can also extend my legs up to vertical. Same actions in raising the sides of the chest and drawing the shoulder blades down. I can press my tricep muscles straight down into the bolster to get even more lift in the upper chest and collarbone area. Then the legs really work powerfully. So you're stretching the legs up towards the ceiling and it's an internal rotation of the thighs. Another wonderful position, very restorative for the pelvic area and prostate gland, is to come into Baddha Konasana in shoulder stand. Then to come out of the pose, bring your knees together, tuck your chin, and slide out. And you can rest with your pelvis on the bolster and your lower legs on the chair. And finally, I'm going to review shoulder stand with blankets. So if you know this already, this might be a time to turn it off. Otherwise, it's good to review, because when you're teaching it in class, you want to get it right. Because of the camera angle, I'll show it with my mat turned sideways and then turn my mat to the wall. So again, I'm using 2 blankets, and they're open wide, so they're nice and flat and have a solid foundation. I'm going to take the folded edge right to the edge of the sticky mat. And then take my second blanket directly on top. For me, with my flexibility, I'm able to just use 2 blankets. For some students, 3 blankets might be more appropriate, and it also depends on the thickness of the blankets. And then fold your sticky mat over. You have about 5 inches of blanket sticking out at the top. And then you'll turn the whole setup, move it to the wall, and it's about, I would say, about 6 inches away from the wall, from the edge of the blanket to the baseboard. Then again, I'm going to take my shoulders right to the edge, right a couple of inches away from the edge of the blanket. And then I'll press my feet into the wall, press my triceps straight down into the floor, and walk myself up. When I'm up, I want to roll the outer shoulders under. Again, raise the chin, raise the sides of the chest, raise the upper chest, lightly press the back of your skull into the floor, and take the palate back. Then from there, bring your hands onto your kidneys. Keep your elbows as close together as possible, and you might extend your legs up. Again, internal rotation of the thighs, Really keep the legs extending up powerfully. And when you come down, scoot yourself away from the wall. And I like to come into a little mini fish pose. So the upper back is supported on the blankets. And I bring the arms into a goalpost position. And I can just really gently raise the chin and then bring it back to neutral. Just tucking the cervical vertebra in towards the front of the neck. Lastly, if you're in shoulder stand, of course, never turn your head and look around. You want to keep your head always in the center. And if you feel uncomfortable in the shoulder stand, if you feel like there's too much weight on the neck, or that there's pain in the back, it means you're not warmed up enough, or you don't quite have enough flexibility in the pose. And so it's time to go back and review your opening sequence. Thank you all so much. I'll see you in February.